Where are we, part 2?
We're at Tab today. Again. If I put these videos out in order at least.
That's it.
We're going to go into a room that currently smells quite a lot of paint.
Oh, there's paint.
There's quite the paint.
It's aromatic. We're sleeping here tonight, gonna have a headache.
Ooh. We're in a dreamlike sequence.
It was all a dream.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine. Hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack Mr. Magic Molly Mall. I let my tape rock till my tape pop. Smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private.
Hey folks, we are back again, this time with our friend Andy, who you have seen on numerous videos. Last time I saw Andy was over Zoom calls. Here he is in the actual flesh.
We were lads, but no tongues.
No tongues. I'm afraid there's no licking. What I might lick though is this Lincoln Continental, which is Andy's. We're going to have a look around it. But do you want to tell us the story about how you have acquired this Lincoln? Because it's quite a thing. There's a thread on the forum, but we'll get...
Got drunk. All the best stories.
Good start.
Get drunk. Got drunk with Elk and with Riz. It's actually New Year's 2019 into 2020. I need to mentally correct that because obviously we've lost a year.
Yeah, the year has disappeared.
In history, yeah. Just usual New Year's chat really, like not resolutions, but like
what are you going to do with the year? What do you want to do?
Yeah. Priorities for the year. I'm like same as always really. Try and get some really cool cars on the road and just ultimately I've always wanted a 64 Continental, but just seemed impossible because they cost a lot of money and take up a lot of room.
Yeah.
I at that point had like 5 or 6 unstarted projects plus the ones I was working on, so it's like I want it before I'm 40 ideally, which is like at that point it was 3 years. No, it's 2 years. And it's like, well, it's just not going to happen. Basically, that was the conclusion. If I finish everything that I've started working on and that I've still got to start, I'll be 55.
Yeah.
And they're funding all that as well. So, I can't remember if it's Elko is one of them said like, what would it cost? Could you get to that sort of number if you start rationalising?
Yeah.
So it's just fag packet time, not any smoke, but scrap of paper time. Wrote a list of everything I've got, crossed out things that were not going anywhere, like my Mark II Esquire, I never sell that, crossed a few things off, and then what was left that I could maybe stomach getting rid of, what did it all add up to? Just rough fire sale numbers, and it came to more than I thought it would cost me to get a Lincoln Continental.
That's some proper maths. That's like the point at which you go, oh, that stuff's stopping me from getting this stuff, so this is the thing I actually want, so... And
then it just turned into, well, screw it, I'll do it. And I started pretty much straight away, post-hangover. Soon the list was a spreadsheet, I'm a nerd. Yeah. So now I can tell you literally what I've sold, what I sold for, what I've spent money on, in and out, and I won't talk numbers, but these cars aren't cheap. But I've not spent any money on it. Like in terms of actually putting my hand in my pocket and contributing to the cost, including shipping it over here. I had to buy some parts, it had a smashed windscreen, eye-bleedingly expensive, all covered just from selling things.
I was saying earlier, you've effectively bartered up out of stuff you already have, but you've just done it via a third party. So you've taken all of this collection of stuff and turned it into a car.
Yeah, that's
and all of the required bits to get the car on the road and comfortable and nice.
Yeah. I sold a few cars, but it's mostly parts, and I think I'm at about 130 individual sales at this point. Probably like 12 sets of wheels, 10 or so engines.
Just like stuff you've accumulated over the years.
Stuff that I bought for projects. I mean, I had a Mark I Escort van, for instance, and I'd accumulated so many parts to do it. And it's like, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Sell it. Everyone knows what Mark Escort's worth these days, and then all the parts and stuff. And actually, it's not just the Lincoln now, because I'm still going. I've still got probably 3 or 4 cars to sell to get down to 5, which seems crazy to normal people, but to us 5 is like a sensible number. It's in single figures. Get down to 5, including this, but there'll be money in the budget then to do all of them like how I want. Like you've seen the 124, it's coming along. Just had it painted, putting air on it, and that's again being funded by selling stuff.
It's all financed from.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The E31s are custom colours right now being painted, being financed by selling stuff. I can't afford a custom colour to spray.
No.
And I'd never be able to justify it if I could.
Because you look at your bank account and go, I've got to take this money out and put it into that thing.
It's mortgage.
Whereas if it's come out of all of the bits and pieces you've sold.
Yeah, and I will spend the money from selling cars on the remaining cars and on this, basically, and that's how it looks.
That's nice. That's a nice sort of self-financing hobby at that point. Although I suppose it's from accumulation of stuff.
Because I've spent the money.
Yeah.
Previously. But I mean, some things I've done alright out, especially old Ford parts. I'm quite lucky.
Yeah, that's good.
I started by selling my Mark II Granada lowrider.
Yeah.
A friend of mine said years ago, if you need to sell a lot of things and it's going to be unpleasant, sell your favourite one first. And then the rest of it will seem a lot easier. So I'm like, right, there's nothing cooler than a lowrider.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe a Lincoln Continental. So I sold that first. And actually some of the other stuff didn't feel too bad.
How was that first sale? Did that hurt? Or
I sold it to Kerry Co, so it was a nice, easy transaction. Didn't get messed around as you'd expect. Knew it was going somewhere that it's not going to go back on the road as a lowrider, but the parts have gone to different places.
Yeah.
So
that's nice.
Yeah. So that was cool. But yeah, sold a lot of stuff since then. And like some things I lost money on, some things I made loads of money. My RX-7 that I broke for parts went crazy. But there's now parts of that RX-7 in Pakistan, Dubai, New Zealand. The bumpers went to New Zealand. Something went to Australia, I can't even remember what. The engine's in France.
That's amazing.
Stuff's gone to America.
That's brilliant.
Even like the little like heck blend panels in Canada.
I quite like that. That's sort of.
Because people say, I can't find these parts in my country, no one will ship it. And I don't understand that. Because like to me, if I sell something and wrap it up and it gets collected by a courier, that is the same amount of effort if it's going around the corner or if it's going to Canada. I give them a postage quote, there's loads of money, and they can either say yes or no.
That's the thing, the money is all in the postage, so it might. That all gets passed on to the other end, so it's up to them whether or not they want it. I've done the same thing.
At the cost. I've been like, oh no, that's far too much. Fair enough.
I bought I told you I bought a t-shirt from America, and it cost me 3 times the amount the t-shirt cost to actually get it into this country. I think I spent £70 on a £20 t-shirt, but I really wanted that t-shirt, so I did it. But then the same going to be true for car parts. I mean, I have the same problem having a Datsun Sunny. Like occasionally I'll look at parts and I'm just like, can I justify getting that? And it's like, well, yeah, because I can't get it otherwise. So that's how much that part costs. That's just how it is.
And it's going to bite me on the other end now with this, because obviously I can't get any parts for it here.
Yeah. Talk us about finding this. Like, where did it come from? How did you go about finding this?
I kind of wasn't looking yet because I'd only just sort of started getting into the ball rolling on selling stuff and accumulating money and blah blah blah. But obviously, there's not very many of them anywhere, and there's only a couple of like groups for them, like Facebook groups and like one forum type thing. So I see them come up for sale. Can't not look. I've looked at a few and I've spoken to a few people about them, and kind of thought it's going to be too much of a project. My starting point was I want a complete one, because all the trim and stuff you just will not find, or if you do, it will be like ridiculous money and in America. So it's like, well, it has to be complete, and I don't want a massive welding project. Other than that, at some point it will get torn down and air and probably painted and blah blah. So I wasn't too worried about that side of things. But I'd like
you found like a really solid, complete base though. Like
I'd like to be able to drive it around for a couple of years. So that was kind of my starting point. And then I passed by on a couple, having spoken to the sellers, just because they weren't that car. I also didn't want an immaculate mint one because it's 50 grand.
Yeah, it's a lot of
more.
money. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, for me, A, I don't want to spend that. Don't have it, for starters. And B, you know, I want something that I want to make mine, and if I've got an absolute mint one, it's stupid to spend the money on a minter only to tear it down and get it painted. So this just came up basically. Got chatting to the owner. Such a solid guy, proper car guy. He was in Missouri near St. Louis. Just chatted to him loads, and he was, you know, I can't say enough about how sound he was, because I know that basically I ended up getting it because I was the first person to show interest, but he had loads of people after me that had asked him if it was available, which surely would have been an easier transaction for him because they'd have paid cash and taken it away, whereas it's got me like halfway around the world asking for photos of every little bit, and he did videos for me. And but then talking about getting parts over, and I mentioned needed a windscreen, you know, he sorted it all out.
Amazing.
Absolute hero. Basically, he said, yeah, buy a screen, get it shipped to me. I know a guy that'll fit it. He had it fitted for me. He even paid for it, and I squared him up afterwards. So that was, I mean, the screen was like £1,200 or something, eye-watering amount of money. But that's the other thing with funding it by selling stuff. It doesn't hurt as much.
Yeah, so that's a lot of money, but
yeah, if I had to put my hand in my pocket to spend that, the worst. I mean, I'll show you. My job at the moment is going through and replacing all the door and window seals because they're effed, and you can buy them all, but it's just an unreasonable amount of money. It's a horrible amount of money.
I think the word unreasonable is a great way of describing some of this
packs of
stuff.
rubber products in there, but these are like, you know, $100 each or something. So I think I've done $2,000 basically on all these bits of rubber. But it needs doing because you can't really enjoy the car as it is, because it's, you know, some of them are just gone altogether, or they're like cracked and falling to bits, so it's like cold and windy. And but he said, yeah, get it all shipped to me, I'll chuck it in the car.
Amazing.
So that saved me a fortune on
shipping and
obviously import duty, he says quietly, because they're all in the boot. But they're part of the car at that point, so it's fine.
Yeah, I guess if they cared that much, they'd looked in the boot.
Yeah, exactly. They'll find the car quickest. I don't know where we're going. Yeah, just being able to pay for stuff by selling other things makes it less painful.
Yeah,
Spending £2,000 on a rubber door seal kit would be savage if I didn't have the mindset. Actually, I sold a set of wheels for that, which I didn't want anyway.
For a while,
So
I did.
Like you said, it's a bartering exchange effectively.
I used to spend on cars money that I'd made doing car things. So when I used to write for magazines, or like if we made any money out of the show, or any of that kind of stuff, that's the money I'd spend on cars, which is why I never used to spend much money on cars. Never used to make a lot. But at the time I didn't have any money, so I didn't have any money to spend on cars. So it's like a weird kind of exchange. It was like, this money is separate and it's car money, and if I have a good year doing whatever, like doing a bunch of writing, photography, the show goes well or something, then I'll plough that into the Datsun or something. Yeah. But it was never like, oh, I'm not going to pay my mortgage this month, because which was like, you know, that's always the fear, is when you start to get into big projects and big money projects, is
a lot of money.
Your life becomes sort of beholden to your project. And you've got to get the priority right, and that I think is one of those juggling acts, by selling a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And so you were lucky enough to have accumulated a bunch of stuff.
I will run out of stuff to sell.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've still got probably 3 or 4 more cars to sell and a few piles of parts, but it will run out.
Yeah.
And that's fine if I can get these mostly done.
Get the lion's share of it
like,
done.
all this is like paid for out of normal money.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm selling stuff to fund everything.
No.
In terms of like big capital expenses that
big
otherwise
project
wouldn't have been possible.
love this thing. I love how ridiculously. So I've seen Lincolns before in my life. I mean, you've been there when I've been looking around Lincolns, and I never appreciated that the doors are like nearly a foot thick. Yeah, they're insane. Absolutely.
It's got like a gutter down it.
Yeah, absolutely mad.
Yeah, the doors are one of the most excellent things about it.
The dashes are just incredible as well. The whole, it's awesome.
It's got considerably grubbier since it's sat here, but I'll sort
Yeah,
that
that's one of the things of being indoors. Just phenomenal. So, are you going to keep it cream? Are you going to make it dark purple like the?
Yeah. Well, for now, I just want it on the road and driving, so I'm literally just going to do all this rubber stuff, and it really needs exhaust manifold gaskets.
Yeah.
It really needs exhaust manifold gaskets, which is a horrible job, so I probably won't do that before the show.
Yeah.
But I'll do that ultimately, and then I'll just enjoy it as it is for now.
It's a cool car, man.
But yeah, at some point when the other cars are done, which will be years, I do want to do this as a full project. I do want it to be a different colour and on air and on different wheels.
That'd be,
but I never went out looking for a cream one. No. I do really like it. But now that I've had it, and
what's funny about it is they're always black. Like Lincoln Continental is always black in my head.
Often, yeah.
And when it turned up with a cream one, I was like, oh, and I was like, oh, it's nice, man.
Yeah, and I won't paint it black.
No.
But I would paint it dark. But
yeah,
we'll see.
But it was interesting.
At the moment, I really like the colour. The paint's not great though, so.
So you've driven it a bit?
I've only driven it around here. I haven't driven it far. It's hilarious. It's so large. It feels massive out on the road. But yeah, it goes well. Never driven a full-size American car before, so I didn't really know what it was going to be like. Goes better than I thought it would. It sounds stupid for a car with a 7-litre engine.
Yeah, but you're thinking American's going to be lazy. Yeah,
they're high 300s, I think. So it's pretty stout. Yeah, but it's obviously 2.5 tonne and 5.5 metres long. So. But yeah, it goes alright. The handling is pretty boaty, as you'd expect. I mean, it's got like 80 profile tyres on it, whatever that is. It is lowered. It's on known blocks at the back and drops things at the front. And actually, I was very pleased that the brakes aren't terrifying. It's got a later disc conversion on the front of like a 65, 66 Continental.
Nice.
Because these are our drums around and single circuit brakes, which is fairly terrifying.
Yeah, that's a little bit worrying, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's been done and that's all new. All the bushes are new. So yeah, it actually drives very well.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, the big old 80 profile tyres definitely make it wobbly.
Ooh! Yeah, a little bit side to side motion just from the tyres.
Keeps wobbling for when you.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but that's mostly the sidewalls.
That's amazing. Actual sidewall flex.
It is what it is. Like, it's not a race car.
No, it's brilliant.
It could barely be further from a race car.
Well, I love it. I'm glad you got it as well. I'm glad you got to where you were trying to get to.
Me too.
And it's just be a lesson to all of us, to be honest.
That's why I did the thread. I'm not mentioning numbers, obviously, but I think anyone could think, especially people in our position. There's been loads of comments on the forum, people saying, I've got so much stuff I haven't touched in years, and I can't afford to finish the project I want to finish. And it's like, well,
you're kind of hoarding at that point.
It's not that I didn't want it.
No. Yeah.
You know, I wanted my Mark 1 Escort van. I wanted it done, but do I want it done in 10 years and then buy a Lincoln?
Yeah.
Or do I want to just skip that bit?
So yeah, that's our takeaway. Work out what you want and then plot the course to it.
Yeah, cut out the
nonsense.
Bits that you don't necessarily want in between.
Cool. Thank you very much, Andy. We'll look forward to seeing this at Weekender and various other places. I'm sure.
She'll be there. Might be sleeping in it.
Just picking up.